Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cochlear Southeast Asia's live chat session. So my name is Renato and I'll be your host for this evening. This series of live chat session came about as we aim to raise more hearing health awareness and as we want to support people who may be looking for solutions for their hearing loss. You may remember during our first live chat session that you heard from Vanessa and Rachel, who shared what it's like growing up with hearing loss and how it has helped her, especially with her university days. If you missed that session, you can still watch the recording on our Cochlear Southeast Asia Facebook page. Tonight, we will be shining our spotlight on another cochlear recipient who will share how her cochlear implant has improved her quality of life, not just with work, but also in pursuing her passion. Okay? Since this is a live session, we encourage everyone to send in your comments, ask questions in our Facebook comment section. So we will try to answer the questions at the end of the session. Do note that we also have a lucky draw. So we are giving away 1 waterproof and shockproof Bluetooth speakers to 1 lucky winner. To join the lucky draw, you just need to do 2 things. Register via the link that you see on the screen, and you can also like, share, and post on the comment section to actively participate. So do hang around as we announce the winner at the end of the segment. So I'm very excited to introduce 2 of our guests for the live chat session, Hui Min and Felice. So Hui Min is 29 years old this year, and she's had hearing loss since she was 8 years old. She's been using hearing aids since then on both ears, and just received her first cochlear implant 1 year ago. She's currently working as an assistant manager in a finance and insurance company, and during her free time, she likes to go outdoors for hiking, trekking, playing sports, and most recently, she's picked up a new hobby, playing a musical instrument. And it's just not any common instrument. It's called a kooten, a popular traditional Chinese instrument. You should be able to see her video playing right about now. Wow, such an amazing talent. I can just imagine, learning to play with 6 strings is already difficult enough. But how many strings does your instrument have?
21.
21
strings, yes.
Wow, amazing. So today she's also joined by one of her close friends, Felice. So I hear you've known each other for 14 years. I'm sure you have a lot of stories to tell and adventures together that you can share with us. So thank you both for joining us this evening. So let's get started. So my first question is for Felice. I know 2 of you met in secondary school. Can you share more with us, what it was like the first time you met?
Okay, back then in secondary school, during assemblies, they actually arranged the classes in horizontal rows. Okay, so it just so happened that Hui Min, although she was in a different class, we had the same register number in our respective classes. So she would always sit in front of me. And in assembly, everybody is always talking and everything, right? She's the only one who's not. Okay, so I decided that, one day I realized that she changed the glasses. So I decided to talk to her. I was like, oh, hey, you changed your glasses. Looks good on you. She just turned around and she just turned back. She just completely ignored me. So that was our first conversation, or lack of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about you, Hui Min? What was going through your mind when Felice first spoke with you?
Okay, I think that, back then I think I was quite self-conscious. So when someone that I didn't know well, I didn't really know, they actually come and ask me about this kind of thing, I just stopped. So strange. Yeah, which is why I think I didn't respond to her at all.
Don't worry, she's still making up to me. Yeah, about it.
I think, 14 years later, I see that the friendship has grown stronger.
Yeah, fortunately.
Yeah.
Hui Min, I also heard that you're very sporty. Back then, how did your hearing aids help you, when you were playing sports?
Okay, I played netball when I was in primary and secondary school. So while we were playing, like during matches, training sessions, so sometimes our coach will be on the sideline giving instructions, like for example, oh, you need to follow this person, like you have to defend this person, or can you stop running here, can you run there instead? So hearing aids actually helped me to hear what my coach was instructing us while the game was still ongoing. Yeah. So that was it.
Okay. Yeah. We also understand that you have a very close-knit group of friends where you hang out regularly. So I can imagine how everyone can get excited, sharing stories, sharing gossips, which can get chaotic. So how do you support women when she misses out on some parts of the conversation?
So there's a lot of laughing involved, okay? So sometimes at her expense lah. Okay, but then when we realize that she missed out something, right? I mean, we will try to keep quiet. One of us will explain or repeat whatever that was going on to her. Then after that, we just continue our conversation. But we'll try our best to be mindful, not to cross-talk, because she can't pick up on every single conversation. But of course, we try our best lah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to hear that you have very supportive friends. But for you women, what listening strategies do you usually do to ensure that you hear well during your gatherings?
Okay, so one way to help would be that, a very common situation is that, Singaporeans, we like to gather for food. So when you are in restaurants, so one way is actually to position myself in the middle so that I can at least try to make sure that my friends are all beside or in front of me so that I can hear them within this hearing range. Yeah, then of course I think the main thing is that to be upfront with them about my hearing issue, that I would have difficulty hearing, let's say they are speaking from behind me, for example. So I just let them know so that they will be conscious, and then some things like what Felice was sharing just now, like some things that my friend can actually help me in order to involve me in the conversations.
How about you? You have any additional tips that you and your friends usually do to support her?
She said she likes to stay in the middle, but actually our group likes to funnel her at the end. Okay, so reason for that, right, is because we rather talk in one single direction. Okay, so it's understandable if on the other end of her seat she cannot hear what that person is saying, right? So we'll just play a game of telephone and then just pass it down. But at least to me, okay, it's easier if she sits on one end, so we all talk in the same direction. But for her strategy, she likes to sit in the middle. Yeah.
Okay, at least you have a very supportive group of friends. We're curious, what was it like when you entered the workforce? Was there what were the common reactions or misconceptions that which you faced?
Okay, so one issue which I faced when I entered the workforce will be that I never knew that conference room can be quite intimidating and anxiety-inducing because during school times in lecture hall, classrooms, I never had to experience a room that can seat 30 to 50 people. So when I actually started working and actually having to attend meetings, I realized that no matter where I sit in the conference rooms, I will not be able to catch everything that's going on because of the way of the room layout is. Yeah, so that would make me very concerned because I would not want to actually miss out things that are actually going on in my department. Yeah.
So that was during the first few years when you were just using your hearing aids?
Yeah, we were just hearing aids, yes.
So just in addition to that, how has hearing technology helped you in those, has helped you with work?
Okay, so after getting the CI implants, right, definitely just the CI implants actually helped me to hear better, so I can pick up on things better. Then, of course, it comes with several accessories. Maybe actually today I brought one. I don't know whether you guys can see. This thing is called a phone clip. Okay, so this phone clip actually pairs with my laptop as well as with my mobile phones. So whenever people call or when I have called through, right, I will actually hear the voice in my implant. So this actually kind of like
A voice in your head.
Yeah, sorry.
A voice in your head.
Yeah, in a way, yes. But it's still, your voice is, I mean, for my friends and colleagues, right, I mean, their voice is going to sound a lot more clearer. Yeah, so I'm actually very thankful for this particular accessory.
And I think, especially now with many people working from home,
Yes.
Zoom calls, conference calls, I think,
Yep.
yeah, it has really helped.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful.
Yeah. So I have another question. When did you realize that you needed something more than hearing aids?
Okay, so when I was younger, so around when I was in my primary school age, I had about I was diagnosed mild or moderate hearing loss. So at that point of time, hearing aids was still sufficient. It was enough. So, but as the year passed by, my hearing deteriorated. So, I think should be around uni or when I just started work, when my hearing loss deteriorated to like severe hearing loss. And of course, I tried to upgrade my hearing aids, and I realized that, even if I try to get the best models, I still can't seem to catch well. Like I'm still struggling in everyday conversations. So so then that was when I actually check around what is the next step that I could take to actually help myself to hear better.
Okay. My next question is for Felice. How did you feel when you first heard that she was considering getting a cochlear implant?
Whatever that helps her. If she thinks that it's good for her, I'm all for it. I think the only main concern we had for her was actually the cost of a cochlear implant, because in Singapore it's actually quite expensive. Okay, so after she went through all the initial counseling and everything, right, we realized that for her, the government subsidies really helped a lot. Okay, so with the cost itself settled, right, we were more comfortable with her going ahead with the implant surgery. Yeah.
Okay. And then did you and your friends do anything, for her when she got her CI?
This part. So this girl told us that her CI surgery was a day surgery. Okay, so I wanted to go and visit her. She says, no, I'm getting discharged. Okay, and lo and behold, she wasn't. She was only discharged the next day. And then after, she just locked herself up at home for 2 weeks. And she refused to see us because...
the doctor said that I could not shower. I couldn't shower because of the stitches. So the stitches need to heal, right? So they cannot touch water. And because of Singapore weather is being so humid and warm, so I am protecting my dear friend here because, I don't want them to suffer from my BO. Yeah.
This one. Would be interested to know, can you describe, Hui Min, what it was like hearing with your cochlear implant for the first time?
Okay, during the CI, the first hour was actually quite somewhat a bit scary actually, to be honest, because I was actually very used to hearing aids when even when I changed to a new hearing aid, when I put it on, I could just hear as per normal. So actually, effectively, nothing much changed. But when I put on the cochlear implant for the first hour, I could not hear as per the past. So what I hear was a lot of somewhat like electrical pulses. So somewhat like techno music kind of kind of sound. So when, for example, Brianna like speaking, also every single word sounds like a bloop bloop bloop. So I was like, but that was, so actually I was very scared because I was thinking that like, oh my god, I spent like so much money and what if this thing is not working for me? Okay, but Renato and the audiologist actually was very helpful. They just assured me that it doesn't instantly work for everyone, so it will take some time, maybe a couple hours, couple days for me to actually adjust to it. And I think in my second hour at the hospital, it actually, some of the words starts to make sense. Yeah. Then, one very interesting thing that I still recall even though 1 year later is so after the hospital visit, and so I was at the washroom, then I realized that water sounds very nice. So water sounded very nice. So for example, so when I flush, when the water comes out, I mean, it sounded very nice. Yeah. Then when I wash your hand, then I wash my hand like double the time that I usually take because it just sounds, the tinkling sound of water actually sounds very crispy. I am very crispy. Yeah. It just sounded very interesting. So I still remember till date. Yeah.
I think these are sounds, Felice, that we take for granted, no? For us washing,
Yeah, I never
flushing.
thought I never thought water would sound crispy.
What were the key differences which you observed after Hui Min got her cochlear implant?
Okay, so during her hearing aid days, right? There's a lot of times where she would answer us a different way. Like we will talk about subject A, but she will answer with a subject B. Okay, so the most recent one, right? When we were at our place, and then after that, we were talking about dresses or something like that, about a particular style we didn't like or anything. Then suddenly she blurted out, "Why you don't like? Seaweed is the best. I like seaweed." Then we were like, "What are you talking about? We're not talking about seaweed, we're talking about dresses." They were saying that, the difference is very big. So this used to happen like a lot during her hearing aid. But after she got her CI, right, so occasions like this is a lot fewer, a lot lesser. So less chance to laugh at her.
Okay. How about you, Hui Min? What do you think changed the most after your cochlear implant?
I would say it would be confidence level in general. Yeah, because actually having having a better hearing actually helped me to so-called be more brave in actually having conversations with people and doing things which I hesitated to do in the past. Yeah, because I will be concerned that because of my hearing issue, I may not actually be suitable to do certain things. Then I might be scared of meeting new people because I have no idea how would they react, how would they talk, whether will I be able to understand them. So these were some of my concerns. But now after getting implant, is like actually, these are no longer my concerns. Yeah.
And I remember before you mentioned that when you were wearing hearing aids, actually you did try to learn the kooten at that time, right?
Yes, couple years back, yes. And I learned for only about 8 lessons because I realized that I had difficulty actually catching what the teacher was saying, because she might tell us to start practicing a certain piece. So when we start practicing, then she will say that, okay, you all must notice the fingering or things like that, and I wouldn't be able to know what she was saying, like the kind of tips that she was giving. So I just have to blindly just play, which is very not helpful for learning.
So when do you think we can watch you perform your first concert or live?
We are waiting to buy tickets.
Okay, Hui Min, and I have a follow-up question. How do you wish people, what do you wish people would know more about hearing loss? And, what are the examples you would like to share?
Okay, so one thing that bugs me a lot would be that, so sometimes when people call me, or they call out to me, or they want to speak to me, then they call me, then I don't respond at all. Then when they manage to get my attention, they will say that, actually, should you get your hearing checked? Should you go and check your hearing aid? Can you go and check your implant? Or can you go and increase the volume?
Yeah.
Because you don't hear me. But I'm thinking actually is, or rather, at every point of time, I try to get a better hearing aid models. I underwent surgery to get CI. I really don't think it's the hearing aid issues. And increasing the volume also doesn't help, because increasing the volume not just increase the volume of the person who is trying to speak to me, but also the volume of the environmental sound, which if the environment is very noisy, the environment will still continue to interfere with the person's voice. So it's just not quite helpful. So I think what would help is, like people could just maybe just repeat themselves. I think that would be definitely a more helpful response than to just asking me to go and check my hearing again.
Okay. How about you, Felice? Having been close with her for the last 14 years, what do you think are some some things to, keep in mind when, for other people with hearing loss?
The first thing is that if you have people with hearing loss who have hearing aids, don't talk to them from behind, because it's sort of a blind spot for hearing aids. So instead, if you're coming from behind, usually what I do is I'll just tap her on the shoulder first to get her attention. And another thing that I do is that I will preempt her before asking her a particular question. So instead of saying like, hey, shall we go to restaurant A or B for dinner? Okay, I'll just ask her, hey, I'm thinking where we should go for dinner. Do you think restaurant A or B, So kind of give her like
context.
Context first, and then a bit of time to think, like to guess what your subject is about. Then you ask her the question. Because I understand that from my relationship with her, right, that for normal hearing, ears, we can actually focus on a particular sound. We can pick up on a particular sound across distance and whatnot. We can focus. But for her, everything distance, pitch, everything sounds like the same, like it's all in the same layer. So for her to be able to pick up a particular sound, she really needs to concentrate on picking it out. So it's best that at least I would tell her like, okay, so hey, I'm talking to you, okay, so try to focus on my voice first. So it's just helpful to just preempt, then follow with what you want her to answer with.
Okay. I have a question about going back to entering the workforce. When you after graduation, what was it like applying for your first job?
Okay, first job time when I was still wearing hearing aids on both sides. So, I was upfront about it. So I told my bosses about that I have hearing concern. But generally, my message to them was that okay, I have hearing loss, but my hearing aids is supposed to help me to somewhat close to the normal level of hearing. But I think for my first job, over the first 2 years, I think my boss had like feedback, like they were concerned because they said that they don't seem to be hearing well, And I think to be fair to my colleagues and my bosses, I don't expect them to pay that kind of attention as my friends. Because after all we are working, they never say anything bad. They were just very concerned, which made me feel even worse because I felt that the hearing aids were actually not sufficient to.
Okay. Well, now with the cochlear implant, and you mentioned about your confidence, building up. What's next for you?
Okay, so I after getting the CI last year, so I learned Guzheng. Just now. Then I'm also thinking of going for further studies. So this field of study which I wanted to do was actually one of my choice during post A levels time when we actually apply for our university choices. But I didn't even put it as a choice because I felt like, okay, I don't think I can make it because that field of study actually require very quick response time, and I definitely need to be fully there in terms of my hearing, and I don't think I was able to do that. So there's so I'm trying to apply, so I don't know whether I will get in. But I applied for it.
Must have confidence.
Yes.
What do you think, Felice? Do you see that also in her? Like before, did she share about this?
No,
taking up further
she's definitely
studies?
a lot more outgoing after her implant surgery. Definitely. And then also the angle of hearing, okay, I think it increased because previously, right, sometimes when she had a hearing aids, like if I were to talk slightly behind her like this, she can't hear me, But now if with her CI, right, around this angle, it's okay, okay, which means that in our group of friends, if we want to say anything bad about her, okay, there's a very narrow angle for error,
Okay. Thank you very much both for sharing your insights and your experiences with us. And it's really nice to see how you such have a positive impact on each other. Now let's see what the audience has to say. So let's check our Facebook Live comments. And okay, I have a question here from Samantha. What was your biggest motivation to move towards a cochlear implant?
Sorry, biggest motivation. Wow. Okay. Maybe without going too much into. I think okay. Partly because I myself I do sense that my hearing is worsening and it's actually affecting myself quite a bit in terms of confidence and my ability to do things. Then I think because of something that happened mid last year, so my parents actually pushed me to go for a checkup. But previously for hearing aids, I don't have to go to the hospital. I just need to go to the hearing aid clinic to actually get maintenance or maybe just to get a new pair of hearing aids. But because they pushed me to go to the hospital, then the consultant actually recommended me and said that actually I'm a very suitable candidate for CI because clearly hearing aids have not, were no longer helpful. Yeah.
Okay. I have a follow-up question from Samantha. But before I ask that, may I know what type of music do you listen to, Felice?
What type of music?
Yeah.
Jazz.
Jazz.
Wow, okay.
So in the past, how did women perceive like your music at that time?
We
We
don't share
different
music.
tastes, yeah.
You have different tastes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Different tastes in music, right?
So I guess the question was, what kind of music do you appreciate the most?
I listen to Mendo pop the most, and actually, I listen Mendo pop, English songs and instrumental. Yeah, nothing too quite mainstream, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm not familiar with Mendo pop.
That means
Mendo,
Mandarin pop.
Oh, Mandarin.
Mandarin
Okay,
pop.
sorry.
Mandarin.
Okay. I have a question from Aisha.
Alicia, okay.
How long did it take for you to adjust to your cochlear implant?
Okay, so after the switch on, I think I think from the second week onwards, I think I was actually hearing properly, so don't have that techno music already. I mean, from the second week onwards, and I think 1 month later, I was actually able to actually have decent conversations, and of course, because actually when I did the CI implant, I had to go for AV therapy, which is audio visual.
Oral rehab.
Because they know that now we kind of need to train our brains again to relearn how to hear. So I think with my therapist helping me, I think around my second or third month, actually everything was actually pretty fine. So we were actually working on the harder things, like for example, more of like listening to one complete paragraph, like 1 minute length, and being able to, not even miss out anything in that 1 minute kind of a recording. Yeah, so it's more, but this, if you're talking about conversational kind of thing, I think within the first 1-2 months, it was actually quite okay already. Yeah.
So Felice, do you agree? Do you think that it was around 1-2 months, or
2 months,
was it
2
more
months.
than that before?
Actually, I think she underestimated herself. I think it was less than that because I think I saw her at the 1 month mark after she came out from her house finally. Okay, so I realized that conversation with her was a lot smoother. We didn't have to repeat ourselves as much. She guessed less words, a lot less. Yeah.
So 1 month.
Less than a month.
Okay, that's good to hear. I have another question here from Song Lily. They say that the sooner the better. Would you have gotten the cochlear implant sooner?
Actually, yes. Okay. I can only say yes. Because I realized that, actually to be very frank, a bit blunt, I mean, because actually I knew about CI a couple years back, because I was seeking for alternative, because I already realized for some time that hearing aid were not sufficient. And but back then when I went to check out CI, I found that actually CI looks very bulky and not very aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, so I didn't actually venture to find out more. But after last year's visit to the hospital, then I realized that actually technology has improved. the CI are, a bit smaller, and they are actually very technologically advanced, like, being able to stream sound directly into the implants. Should I show them how small is it?
Yeah, up to you. How your sound processor
I'm not sure
looks like.
whether you guys are able to see, but
I think you gotta pluck it out.
take out.
Yeah, take out, then you just put back later.
Okay, sorry, I take out first. Okay, it's only like that. Can you all see?
Can.
Yeah, we can see from the screen.
So I thought actually this is quite alright. Like, I mean, I still can be pretty. Then I still and I don't have to sacrifice my the aesthetic part lah.
Aesthetic part. Okay. Okay, just some comments here. Okay, from Samantha. Oh, it's amazing to see your confidence. More power to you. So thanks for that. Words of confidence. I have another question from Alyssa. What factors do you greatly consider when deciding to go from hearing aids to cochlear implants?
Sorry, what my point is that?
What factors did you consider? So I guess you mentioned a while ago aesthetics also?
Yeah, aesthetic was one. Cost, I think, which Felice just now brought up, because it's definitely not cheap. And after the ops, I have to go for therapy. So all these sessions actually cost money. Yeah, so cost was one thing. Actually, that's about it. I think. I mean, during there was some those kind of surgical risks, which I mean, if you ever go for it, the doctor will definitely discuss it with you. But I think the risk is actually quite low. I mean, so I wasn't that concerned about that.
Okay. I have a question from Diksha. What more do you expect from your cochlear device? Or maybe, what are your wish list? Future technologies, what do you think is something that you would want more from your device?
Google Assistant.
Serious?
Serious?
Why not? So, like what, high cochlear, then that would be nice. Okay, that time my friend, one of my colleagues was saying something, because I was telling them about the streaming part. Then they were saying like, wow, like it's like macam
Voice in
robot.
your head, yeah.
Yeah, voice not like they mentioned like very robot, like very that kind of thing. Then they asked me whether this thing can pick up signals or not. So maybe this one can be Wi-Fi. Then help me to hotspot the Wi-Fi. Does it work? Does it work that way? I mean, actually, I don't really have much to request. So long, because the main thing is
you need to watch more Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
True. Actually, I watch. So what should I do?
Yeah. So the first thing is what you said: Wi-Fi. You will be a walking hotspot.
Okay, true. Then I will charge people for it. Yeah.
How?
You earn from that also.
Yeah, I do.
I have a question here from Dennis. Do you feel people at work treat you differently because you have a hearing device?
People at work treat me differently because no, actually I would say that maybe in terms of my supervisors, they still have that same kind of expectations. They wouldn't be like because of having this hearing disability, then they will be like, okay, I can do less thing. Because to them, no, like they still expect the same thing. Colleague-wise, actually, I'm very grateful actually. I mean, very thankful that for my past 6 years of career, actually all my colleagues have been very understanding. My friends have also been very understanding. So actually, I didn't face any issue at all.
Okay, that's good to hear. I now have a question from Charmaine. Do people ask you what you are wearing on your head? And if yes, how do you handle those situations?
Okay, yes, people do ask, and I will just tell them that it's a cochlear implant. Okay, so cochlear implant to them is not, I think to the layman it may not be a very familiar term. So I will explain to them briefly that, okay, I cannot hear well. Okay, and so what this thing do is that the external thing will capture the sound, then they will transmit to an internal device, and then they will pass the signal on into my brain. Yeah, so this is a very simplistic way of explaining to people. And generally, those questions that I receive, generally people are just curious, like, hey, what is that thing, things like that. It's kind of, there's no malice or, no bad intention, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let me check the questions. I think I may have one last question from Leia. Comparing hearing aids and cochlear implants, which one sounds better when you play the musical instrument? Are you able to hear the pitch difference with your CI?
Maybe I need to preface by, because I do not have actually much musical experience, so my music experience is only limited to the 8 lessons which I took in couple years back. So actually I do not actually have much to fall back on unless I do not have. I have not actually tried playing music with just CI versus just my hearing aid on my right side. But by and large, that's why I don't quite see an issue with it. Yeah. Maybe need to ask my teacher.
Okay. Maybe you
yeah.
can invite us more often to listen to you play, and then we can tell you.
I'll send you more videos.
Okay. So thank you very much all for sending in all your questions, and thank you for answering our audience's queries. We're very happy that to have an interactive session. Now, before we end, it's time to announce our lucky draw. So our team has actually randomly selected our winner for today, and we're happy to announce our winner, Lai Ti Shun.
Oh my god, my colleague. Okay.
Yeah, so we can round of applause.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll be in touch with you on how you can collect your prize. Okay. So before we close, I would like to ask Hui Min and Felice if you have any message for each other.
I will go first. I go first. So, I am very thankful that I have her with me. Like, really, sometimes I think it's only recent time because actually we got invited to do this talk. Then when Felice was actually sharing her experiences, then I kind of then only realized how much have they been trying to accommodate. And
So make it as seamless for her as possible.
yes, correct. Yeah. So because I didn't realize, I would just feel that because for me my main focus when I'm with them is I just want to be involved and hearing as much as possible. I didn't realize how much efforts they were putting into making things easier for me. So I'm actually very, very thankful.
How about you, Felice? Any message for Hui Min?
I think it's not just for Hui Min, but in general, because she always tries to focus on listening on what's happening around her. She doesn't realize how much she's missing out. Okay, so let's say we are talking about this much information, right? She's trying to focus on all this, but in the process, okay, she actually only caught this much, but she doesn't realize that she missed out this much. So we try to accommodate her because while she was concentrating, right, her face, when she tried to concentrate is
Yes.
yeah. So if she miss out something, right, you don't know. Okay, so we will say, okay, so what we talked about was A, B, and C, not just A. Yeah. Look, I mean, to everybody is very different, but it's just not just about hearing. It's just being inclusive.
I guess that's a very good point. I guess for us we can be a bit more sensitive, and I guess how do we address and help them cope better when they did not
So it's just the personality. Like everybody has its own individual quirks. So for her it's like, okay, so this is the part that we got to act on her behalf. So for example, for me is how she accommodates me is she lets me tell all the cold jokes I want and she will laugh. Yeah, so that's how she accommodates me.
Okay. So how about last one for Hui Min? What's your message to our audience out there who are listening, who also have hearing loss and are actually thinking about their options?
Okay, so for someone, as someone who had hearing loss since a pretty young age, I have heard from maybe read from books and heard from other people that you should not let your disability define you, which that is the correct mindset. But hearing something and actually internalizing it is actually two different things. So I find that I thought I had understood it and I internalized it, but actually I did not until rather recently. Then, so I would hope that you guys really understand that you should not let it affect you, that you should just take advantage of the current technology out there and then use it to pursue your own dreams. Yeah, so maybe you want to play sports, further study, learn the music instruments, do whatever you want.
The sky's the limit. Yeah. So thank you very much, both of you, for your inspiring messages. And I think it's a good reminder for our audience that hearing loss is only a handicap if you don't do anything about it. With healthy hearing, you can stay more connected with friends and with family, so you can really pursue what you want in life. So for all our audience, we hope you found this live chat session useful. And remember, if you or someone you know have hearing loss, you can seek help and seek help from your healthcare professional to get the appropriate advice. Just a reminder, this session will be recorded and will be made available in our Cochlear Southeast Asia Facebook page. So do like our Facebook page so that you can get the update once it's available. Stay tuned and watch out for when our next live chat session will be. So hope to see you all there. Goodbye.